Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video on the R80ST. It's a pretty cold morning, but still it's nice to be working on this bike. Today I want to remove the wheels so I can get new tires on them, and I also want to take care of the front brake, inspect the rear brake, see if the shoes have enough meat left on it, but that seems to be working fine. However, the front brake, well, let me show you. So we're looking at the front master cylinder here. I've pulled the cover away to see what size it is. So if you look underneath, under the master cylinder, there's a number in the casting, 12 in this case, and that's the actual size of the master cylinder. That's the rebuild kit you need to get for it. So yeah, that's why this cover is hanging away. I should have removed it completely. But you can see, if you look right there, there are signs of this master cylinder reservoir leaking, probably. So we've got a new O-ring for that. And also, this is the main problem. It sort of breaks. The brakes sort of work. They do grip the disc a bit, but you pull the lever and it just stays where you leave it. Makes a bit of a funny sound, but that's it. You have to push it back. Yeah, so something's not working quite right. I'm gonna take this apart, clean it, and rebuild it. And while I'm doing this, I thought I might as well do the caliper, because well, why wouldn't you? It's got very old brake fluid. I'm not sure how that works, so we're going to take a look at it, but we're probably going to end up replacing the bits in it as well. And this bike's also going to get a new front disc because the measured thickness of it is below the minimum. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and change that as well. So I'm going to start with the front caliper here. Just because I want to use the master cylinder to pump it out if I have to. I don't expect this to be stuck, but just in case, you know, better be safe. And I want to start with removing this bracket here. This also holds the mudguard on, but it's got a solid brake line right here, so this has to come off in order for me to remove it. It's not really, this one isn't really even split anywhere, so just going through. So I'm going to take this off. Got a nut on the other side. Right, so we've got 4 bolts here. These two hold the caliper onto the fork leg. These two hold the 2 halves of the caliper together. So I'm going to start with these two. I'm not going to take them out, I'm just going to loosen them and snug them back up. Just because once it's off the bike, it's on a bench, it makes it easier for me to take them out. Don't want to put the caliper in a vise or anything to have to take it off. Alright, and now take the bolts that hold it in place off. So this caliper is seized, doesn't want to open. Maybe that's the master cylinder's fault, but what I've done is undid these, maybe a turn and a half, and that just allowed me to pull the caliper off, and I can just snug them up again before it starts leaking. So here I'm trying to use the master cylinder to pump the pistons out, but as we can see they just move back and forth and not actually coming out at all. So that's not going to work. So I'll just remove the caliper then and look at what's coming out of the brake line. That fluid is very dark and full of debris. So I'll just go ahead and remove the master cylinder now. And I've always liked how BMW designed this throttle mechanism with a bevel gear and a chain. That's very neat. So just removing the bolts that clamp it to the bar, remove the front electrical switches that are held on by just 1 bolt, and just undo the brake line at the back and it should slide off. Right, so here we are, ready to start with the fun bit, cleaning obviously. And yeah, what do we have to do? Well, I think the master cylinder is the main culprit. It's just all seized up and nothing quite works properly. If you look in there, you can see just a lot of gunk, not that much fluid. And you saw what came out in the drip tray. It's all full of debris. So yeah, main bit, clean this really well, and we can see probably some leaks right there, which seems to be right under the master cylinder reservoir. So I hope this is still fine to use, but I have to take this apart, and there's an O-ring under there which we're going to replace, and also a rebuild kit. We're going to put this all together, and should be good as new. About the caliper, well, it was a shame not to do anything, in my opinion, so I decided to give this a clean. So we're obviously going to have new brake pads when it's going back. I may have already mentioned, but it's also going to get a brand new disc as well. Going to push the pistons out and replace all the seals, and might as well put new pistons in there, and also have a brand new bleed nipple and a dust cap. That's about it. Looking at it now, I sort of wish I would have replaced these pins, would have got new ones. They still work, they just need a good clean. But yeah, they've seen better days. So I'm not going to bore you with cleaning. I'm just going to have a toothbrush. I borrowed from my wife, obviously, not going to use mine. Some brake cleaner, give everything a good clean, put them on a clean paper towel, and then start stripping them and cleaning them again. So I've got the wheels back with new tires on them, and I'm just gonna go ahead and remove the bolts that hold the disc on, ready to put a new one on it. And this made my day. Just look at how nicely packaged this EBC brake disc is, and the disc itself is really well made and very nice to look at. I'm sure it's gonna work just fine. So I'm just gonna clean it up with some brake cleaner in case there's any oil residue on it. And then I'm just gonna put it on, put some Loctite on the bolts, and tighten it down and torque it to spec. Now it's ready for me to put the wheel back on the bike. And I also forgot to turn the lights on, so apologies for that. Slide the shaft in, which I've cleaned and put some fresh grease on it. Don't forget about the spacer. Put the nut on and torque it to spec. Torque the pinch bolts down, and the front wheel's done. Let's see what the back looks like. So on the back the brake shoes are looking pretty good, and I don't need to do anything there. I'm just gonna put the wheel with the new tire on, torque the bolts down. And now I'm just adjusting the rear brake. I'm just gonna tighten the adjustment nut until the brakes start biting, and then back it off until the wheel spins freely. And that's it for this video. I decided to split it in two separate videos so it's not too long to watch. And the bike's back on its wheels, the rear brake works fine, it's just the front brake that needs looking at. I hope you enjoyed this video, and join me next time when I'll rebuild the caliper and the master cylinder. Thanks for watching.